And welcome back to the show. As always, we sure do appreciate you being with us. As I mentioned earlier, it is Small Business Week here for the beginning part of May, and we really have to draw attention to that and focus on it. As small business owners, this is our week. We deserve to celebrate. And I'm really excited to bring you my next guest. He's going to help us do that and talk to us about some of the things we need to be aware of. His name is Richard Whitworth. He is the Managing Director of Business Consulting at Cetera Financial Group. You may remember Cetera has been with us several times to give us timely updates on the macro, the microeconomic situations, and how things look. Today, Richard is going to talk to us about small business things in particular. That's where he focuses at Cetera. Richard, welcome to the show. How are you doing today?
I'm doing very well, Jim. Thanks so much, and good day, everybody.
So much of the media recently, Richard, has been trying to predict, I believe, bad economic news, but the latest indicator, 2 weeks ago, great economic news. It seems to me that us small businesses should be continuing our excitement. What do you think?
I couldn't agree more. You know, that 3.2% GDC number that came out there, Jim, just I think resonated with everyone across the board. You know, thinking about a little bit of the winter slowdown and some of the sort of non-correlated issues that can drive macroeconomic growth that we saw play its way out earlier in the beginning part of the year, I think we're really hitting the growth stride right now, coming into the springtime period, and obviously, you know, with the summer coming up here, I think that if you look across Main Street America from manufacturing to professional services, there seems to be a buzz happening right now. Consumers are engaged, businesses are engaged in investing in their business, and we still believe that there's a lot of runway in this bull market left.
All right. Do you think that second quarter will come in the threes as well? Do we have any predictions for the quarter we're in right now?
You know, I wouldn't want to make any look into the crystal ball too much. Gene Goldman, our Chief Investment Officer, does a great job, you know, looking at the macro and what happens with it. I do think, though, if you look at the sentiment of what's happening in businesses across the United States, and especially within the professional services sector and the independent financial advice space that we operate in, there's a palpable buzz right now from clients as well as our financial advisors. You know, people are out able to hunt for growth, find investments and opportunities that are going to add to the portfolios. And when you look across the world economy and think of things at the true macro level, there's a lot of good things happening in the world, you know, maybe notwithstanding Brexit or a few other anomalies, but we are growing as an economy and we are engaged as consumers, which is the most important leading indicator as we continue to see that strong performance going forward.
Any concern about oil prices? I've heard that gas is going up, especially during the summertime.
Well, you know what? There's always that mix in terms of the fuel percentages going from winter to summer. I mean, I live in Southern California, and there's been a pretty large increase in the average per price gallon of gas. You know, the good thing is that wages are increasing, and we're starting to see some real economic gains cutting across the majority of economic sectors. So hopefully, you know, any short-term seasonal increase in fuel prices are going to be offset by some of those more long-term wage gains that we're seeing starting to trickle through the economy right now.
All right. Let's talk small businesses in particular. Is there anything in the economy that would affect small businesses differently from Apple and Microsoft, our trillion-dollar companies?
Well, you know, Jim, it's interesting you say that because obviously there are these macroeconomic factors that impact both small, medium, and large-sized businesses. The good thing about small businesses, and, you know, we work at Cetera Financial Group with approximately 8,000 financial advisors who are operating on a main street across the United States. And they're dealing with clients who are coming to them with issues and opportunities that day-to-day Americans face. And the thing that I think differentiates or sort of keeps us a little bit apart in that is that, you know, Americans are always concerned about their financial well-being. And as we see some of those substantive wage gains and the ability for consumers to start to think about saving and investing a little bit more, to a certain degree, the independent financial advisory space is somewhat insulated from some of those large sort of trillion-dollar macro issues that might plague a lot of big companies. Now, granted, an investor is going to want to invest in Apple or Google or Facebook or any of the other growth stocks. But at the end of the day, I think our financial advisors are able to take a very holistic planning and financial well-being approach to engaging their clients. And regardless of where we are in the macroeconomic cycle, there are opportunities for the small business owner to help his or her client, regardless of what that need is.
All right, Richard, well, that's good to know. That's sort of what I'm seeing. I'm not noticing any of my guests, any of the people I'm talking to, any of my friends complaining about it. They're seeming to be with very strong to-do list, very strong list of clients coming in, strong sales cycles right now. So I'm only seeing good things, and I hope that that's being reflected through the Main Street as well. What about, I know one of your practice areas is in family business and succession planning, that kind of thing. Are we seeing any changes or any increased activity in these closely held family businesses?
That's a great aspect you bring up, Jim, because effectively what we're doing here within business consulting at Cetera Financial Group is engaging our advisors as small business owners. And I believe that given the fact that those advisors work with folks across, all fabric of life in America, be they teachers, firefighters, or other closely held business owners, we have a pretty good pulse of what's going on. The continuity and succession area is one in which we have a lot of expertise and we provide a lot of guidance, because ultimately the sale of a privately held business for the majority of business owners is the largest retirement windfall that they will see, because it does two things. One, it solidifies their legacy for the second generation owners, and two, it really becomes the largest component of that first generation's retirement income. So the most important thing that any small business owner can do from a continuity or a succession standpoint is have a plan. And we like to break up that spectrum of initiatives and work into three specific areas. One is very much a physical business continuity plan. Have it in your mind, written, documented, and with your key stakeholders, internal and external, what happens if there's a disruption in the day-to-day business, in the day-to-day ability to do business. The SBA has a great area on the Small Business Association, has a great area on their website that actually speaks to that physical business continuity planning. Second stage is actual continuity planning for the principal or the owner. What happens if you are not going to be in the office to own it and operate it for a short-term period of time? Be that because of disability, injury, or you just decided to take the great 3-week vacation to Europe. Having the systems and procedures in place so that you can step out as the principal and the business can continue to maintain its growth trajectory is paramount. And then ultimately, what's the succession plan? The long-term exit from the business, both in terms of identifying who's going to be that Generation 2 or that G2 owner of the business, and then as important or more important, beginning the communication process to clients so that they understand that there will be business continuity as that first generation owner starts to exit. Ultimately, that is the goal of owning a small business. The growth for the sake of growth is great, but more important, growth for the sake of maximizing equity and enterprise value should be the goal of all small business owners, because ultimately they're going to be able to monetize it at some point in the future.
Are we seeing any uptick in the sale of small businesses because of the good economy? Do those two things go hand in hand?
Valuation is a very interesting idea, Jim, and really, it starts off with understanding the value of the business. We believe that there needs to be a little bit more than just a top-line revenue multiplier calculation to understand the true value of a business. It's great that you're kicking off, for instance, $1 million of gross revenue, but what's the EBITDA, the earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, or amortization? What's the earnings before owner's compensation, or EBOC number, that really drives the value of the business? You need to think of it in a net revenue versus a gross revenue standpoint. Now, as it relates to where we are in the economic cycle, we haven't yet started to see a lot of small business owners monetize. I think that people are still able to, or I should say, I think the economy still has enough runway where there's still a lot of growth potential within small businesses. Now, that being said, I think that any good business owner should prepare for, as part of your business continuity or your overall annual business planning cycle, what happens for a 15 or a 20% drop in business. And how is that going to affect my ability both to service my clients as well as maintain my staffing levels and anything else operational that I need to deal with. So while the times are good, and they should remain good for a period, business owners do need to think about, how am I going to weather the coming downturn? Because there will be a change in the economic cycle at some point. We do believe, and this is a little bit specific to the financial advisory space, that as we go through that next downturn, whenever it may come, we will start to see advisors, and I'll take that to the macro level of small business owners, start to exit, because most valuations are done on a T12, a trailing 12 revenue basis. So if people are still seeing quarter-over-quarter growth, that means that that valuation that the business commands is still going to be going upwards and to the right. But we start getting a quarter or 2 quarters where there's a downturn in growth, and yes, I do believe that a lot of small business owners are going to look for the exit strategy, because it would take, whenever that business cycle turns, most likely 2 to 3 years to then hit another growth pattern within the industry. And after experiencing the downturn of 07 to 08, the 10-plus years that it's taken us to get back to solid economic growth, there is a question of whether small business owners are willing to go through that next full cycle of the business model.
Well, Richard, great information, and I'm glad to find out that you think that we're going to continue on this. It's a lot of fun when it's a good economy, I have noticed. Richard, how do we find out more? Follow you online, find out more about Cetera, all of the above, please, sir.
Sure, and thank you, Jim. So the easiest place to find out about Cetera is just to go to our website, www.cetera.com. From there, you can learn about our 6 broker-dealers that form our company, and how we have these 8,000 financial advisors who can really help the everyday Main Street American achieve their financial objectives and financial well-being. I'm available also on LinkedIn at just Richard, R-I-C-H-A-R-D, Whitworth, W-H-I-T-W-O-R-T-H, and really willing to speak with any and all business owners. I believe that they're the lifeblood of the United States, and anything we can do to collectively help each other grow our businesses is the commitment that I make to everyone that I serve and that I work with.
Damn right we are the lifeblood of the economy. And, Richard, I appreciate what you're doing. Thank you and Cetera so much. And I hope you'll come back soon, my friend.
Definitely, anytime. Have a great day, Jim, and thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you, and we will be right back.